Some loves are beautiful, others are forbidden. Ours was both, and it cost us everything. Have you ever fallen for the wrong person at the wrong time? Tell your story in the comments. Someone out there might understand. The morning after felt hollow, like waking up in a house you no longer recognize. Same walls, same windows, but nothing feels safe. Camille and I didn't speak at breakfast. Olivia buzzed around, humming, barefoot, happy. The sun hit her face in the most innocent way, and for a moment I wondered, how do you hurt someone who never saw it coming? I told myself it had to end, that we were done, that last night was the last time. But lies always sound prettier in your own head. Later that afternoon, we went kayaking, one of Olivia's favorite lake house traditions. Camille and I ended up in one boat, Olivia in another. That was our second mistake. The first was the kiss. Out in the middle of the lake, surrounded by nothing but quiet ripples and sun, Camille turned to me. This isn't fair to her. I nodded. I know. And it's not fair to us either. I know that too. She reached out, gently touched my hand on the paddle. Tell me one thing. If she wasn't in the picture, would you want me? I didn't hesitate. Yes. The silence after that answer was deafening. We didn't kiss. We didn't even hold hands. But Olivia was watching. I don't know how long she had been, but when we got back to shore, she didn't smile, didn't say a word, just walked into the house. Camille and I followed, hearts thudding, trying to act normal. But the silence was heavy, too heavy. When I entered the living room, Olivia was standing there, holding Camille's phone, unlocked, open, on a message thread. With me. She looked up slowly. Her eyes didn't blink. Her voice didn't rise. Just a single sentence. How long? I froze. Camille whispered, Liv, don't. She cut in. I'm talking to her. Me, the one she trusted, the one who betrayed her. I swallowed hard. I don't know. Weeks, maybe. Her lip quivered, not in anger, in devastation. You were supposed to be my person. I couldn't breathe. I didn't plan this. I swear I didn't. No, she said coldly. You just let it happen. She walked toward the door, keys already in hand, but paused just before crossing the threshold. One day, this will fall apart. Affairs always do, and when it does, I hope it was worth it. Then she left. Just like that. No screaming, no second chances, just silence. Camille sank to the floor, head in her hands. I didn't move because for the first time I saw what we'd done. Not just a mistake, but a scar, one we couldn't take back, and maybe didn't deserve to. Camille didn't stay that night, but she didn't leave me either. We stood in the hallway for too long, saying nothing, breathing the same heavy air, eyes saying what our mouths no longer dared. When she finally left, her fingers brushed mine one last time, and that was enough to keep me awake the rest of the night. The next morning, Olivia called. Her voice was bright, casual. "I haven't seen you in days. Thought maybe you'd gone off the grid." I hesitated, then lied. "Just been busy." She laughed. "Well, we're heading to the lake house this weekend. You should come." I wanted to say no. I should have said no, but Camille would be there, and that's all it took. Friday afternoon, I threw a bag in the back of my car and drove 2 hours through winding roads and memories I didn't want to relive. The lake house was always our escape, mine and Olivia's. Before Camille, before the weight of secrets, we'd danced drunk on that deck. We'd cried on those steps. We'd been sisters in everything but blood. And now I was walking into her sanctuary with guilt stitched into my bones. She hugged me at the door. "I missed you." Camille didn't speak, just watched from the kitchen, glass of wine in hand, face unreadable. Dinner was awkward. Olivia didn't seem to notice. She rambled about the lake's water level, the neighbor's ugly new fence, the couple down the road getting divorced. I envied them. At least they had the honesty to break. Later that night, Olivia went to bed early, tired from the drive. I offered to do the dishes. Camille helped. We didn't speak. Not at first, but silence with her was never empty. It was charged, ticking. Finally, she whispered, "You shouldn't have come." I dried a plate, not looking at her. "I know, but I'm glad you did." I dropped the towel, looked at her. "Camille, we can't keep doing this," she said. "This half-truth, half-distance thing, it's eating me alive." "Then end it." "You think I haven't tried?" We stood there, inches apart. The tension in the room was louder than any scream. I could hear my own heartbeat in my throat. She touched my face. "Do you hate me?" I almost said yes. Instead, I kissed her. It was reckless, stupid, beautiful. We didn't go upstairs. We didn't undress. We didn't speak again. We just kissed like it was the only thing that made sense. And then we stopped because we heard a creak on the floorboards. Olivia. We froze like statues, breath caught, hearts racing, but no one came down. Still, It was a warning. We were balancing on a blade, and sooner or later, someone was going to bleed. That night, I lay in the guest's bed, staring at the ceiling. Camille was just one wall away. Olivia, the woman who trusted us both, was asleep 2 rooms down, and me, I was in love with a lie. A week passed, a week of silence, no texts, no glances, no accidental touches. Camille was a ghost, and I was haunted. Olivia didn't notice. Of course she didn't. She was planning a trip to the coast, busy with work, giddy about a possible promotion. She kept saying how grateful she was to have me in her life, how she didn't trust anyone else like she trusted me. Every word felt like a blade, and I kept smiling like it didn't cut. But inside, I was unraveling. The guilt and the hunger were fighting each other, and neither one was winning. Friday came again. This time, I didn't go to game night. I told Olivia I had a migraine. Another lie, another crack in the mirror I could barely look into anymore. I thought avoiding her would make it easier. It didn't. Saturday morning, I opened my door and found Camille standing there. No warning, no smile, just her. Rain streaked her hair and soaked her blouse. She didn't care. I froze. She didn't speak. She didn't wait. She stepped inside and closed the door behind her, never breaking eye contact. "What are we doing?" she asked, voice low, trembling, not from fear, but from everything she was holding back. I swallowed hard. "You can't be here." Too late. I backed away as she stepped closer. "Camille, I can't sleep. I can't think. You're everywhere in my head, and I know you feel it too." I didn't answer. I couldn't. My hands were shaking. "You didn't answer because you were scared," she whispered. "And so was I, but we can't keep pretending." She stepped forward. So did I. I don't know who moved first. All I know is the distance disappeared. Her mouth found mine, and the world shattered. It wasn't soft. It wasn't careful. It was a dam breaking, a fire consuming, a scream without sound. Her hands were in my hair. Mine gripped her waist. The kiss was everything we hadn't dared to say for weeks. Everything we'd buried under loyalty and silence. And it was perfect. Until it wasn't. I pulled away first, breathless and burning. "This is wrong." "I know," she said, forehead against mine. "But tell me you didn't want it." I couldn't, because I had, every second of it. I turned away, rubbing my face, trying to breathe again. "She's my best friend, and she's my wife," Camille said softly. "And that's what makes this so impossible." We stood there, two traitors, two cowards, two hearts caught in something they never asked for but couldn't escape. Camille touched my hand again, gentle this time, trembling. I didn't come here to ruin anything. I just needed to know I wasn't alone in this. I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt something terrifying. I didn't want her to leave, and that scared me more than anything. I didn't answer her message that night, but the next morning, I found myself checking my phone before I even brushed my teeth. No new messages, no follow-up, no apology, just silence. I told myself that was good, that it meant we were moving on, letting it die before it became something too big, too dangerous, too real. But I knew better. Camille didn't say things she didn't mean. I tried to focus on work, emails, meetings, deadlines, but everything was background noise. My thoughts were with her, replaying every brush of her hand, every glance, every breathless pause between us. That night on my couch had changed something permanently, and I couldn't unfeel it. When Friday rolled around, Olivia texted me. Olivia, game night, 8 p.m., you better come. I stared at the screen. It felt like a trap. Me, I'll be there. Because of course I would. I told myself I was going to prove I could handle it, that I could be normal again, that I could look Camille in the eye without betraying the thousand sins dancing behind mine. The second I walked into their apartment, I knew I had lied to myself. Camille opened the door. She didn't smile, didn't flirt, didn't even greet me with her usual warmth. She just looked at me, and I felt it again. That sharp pull in my chest, that silent scream between us that no one else could hear. Olivia was buzzing with excitement. "Babe, get the wine," she called to Camille, already setting up the board games. She brought her killer instinct tonight. I laughed, fake and sharp. Always do. Camille walked past me on the way to the kitchen, her shoulder grazing mine, just slightly. But enough to make my breath hitch. When she came back with the glasses, she handed me one last. Her fingers brushed mine for a second too long. I looked up. She was already looking away. Every second that passed between us felt like a confession. By round 3, Olivia had to take a work call. Camille and I were left alone at the table. We said nothing, but the silence was loud. Then she whispered, barely audible, without moving her lips, "Why didn't you answer me?" I felt my stomach drop. I didn't look at her. I couldn't. Instead, I picked up agate from the pile and muttered. It was late. I fell asleep. Lie number 1. and I knew it wouldn't be the last. She leaned back, eyes fixed on me like a storm waiting to break. "You're lying." I said nothing, because what could I say? That I had written a reply 3 times and deleted it every time. That I had spent hours replaying every word she might say to me if I showed up. That I was already spiraling into something I couldn't control. She didn't push, she just smiled, bitter and small. "Don't worry, I won't ask again." But that was a lie too, because some things don't fade just because you pretend they don't exist. When I got home that night, I looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't like what I saw, not because I'd fallen for her, but because I didn't want to stop. They met at my apartment. Olivia, my best friend since college, had called to say she was coming over for wine and catch up. "I'm bringing someone," she added casually. "You're going to love her." And I did. Too much. Her name was Camille. She walked in like she owned every molecule of air around her. Short, auburn hair tousled just right. Deep green eyes that seemed to laugh and seduce at the same time. She reached out her hand to shake mine, and when her skin brushed mine, it was like electricity. I told myself it was nothing, just nerves, just the wine, just admiration. But then came the look, that impossible look. While Olivia rummaged through my kitchen for snacks, Camille turned to me. She didn't speak. She didn't move. She just looked at me, her eyes locked onto mine with a softness, a stillness that said more than words ever could. It wasn't lust, not exactly. It was recognition, like we had met before in another life and had unfinished business. I blinked, turned away, tried to shake it off. But my heart was already doing backflips. And when I caught her watching me again, minutes later, with that same charged silence, I knew I wasn't imagining things. Over the next few weeks, Olivia and Camille became regulars in my life. Double dates, game nights, brunches, movie marathons. At every gathering, Camille was there. So was her perfume, her laugh, her glances when no one was looking, and I hated myself for waiting for those moments. One night, after Olivia had gone to bed early with a headache, Camille and I stayed in the living room. We were just talking, sipping whiskey, nothing suggestive, but her foot brushed mine. Once, twice, a third time, and then it stayed. Neither of us said a word. We didn't need to. That night, I lay awake, staring at my ceiling, my heart pounding like it wanted out of my chest. I had never felt this way, not even in my own past relationships. This wasn't a crush. This was obsession. The guilt came fast and heavy. Olivia had trusted me with everything, her secrets, her heartbreaks, her wedding speech, and now, unknowingly, her wife. I told myself it would fade, that Camille was just a phase, some forbidden fantasy I'd snap out of. But every time she walked into a room, the air shifted. Every time her hand brushed mine, I felt like I was cheating on every version of the person I used to be. Then came the message. It was 2:13 a.m. I was in bed, scrolling mindlessly, trying to tire myself into sleep, when her name popped up. Camille, can we talk? Just us. My hands trembled. I stared at the screen, heart racing, knowing exactly what she meant. I didn't respond, but I didn't sleep either, because deep down, I already knew this was no longer about resisting. It was about how long I could keep pretending I still wanted to. It started with a glance, just one. A look that lasted too long, lingered too deep, and lit a fire I couldn't put out. I tried to forget it, tried to be loyal, tried to stay away. But how do you resist the one person who sees through you while sleeping beside someone else? I didn't plan to fall. I didn't plan to want her. But now, I can't stop, and if anyone finds out, everything will burn.